I tried to quit. He said I couldn't. Turns out we were both right. I just didn't know yet that I was already his. The resignation letter felt like it was burning a hole through my jacket pocket as I stood outside Dante Salvatore's office door. I'd rehearsed my speech 17 times in the shower that morning, twice on the L train, and once more in the elevator. Professional, calm. Absolutely zero mention of the fact that my boss made my knees weak and my common sense evaporate. I could do this. I had a business degree from Northwestern and a superpower I'd hidden for 26 years. Quitting a job should be easy, except the job came with a 6'3" alpha who smelled like cedar and gunpowder and made every rational thought in my head scatter like frightened birds. Mr. Salvatore will see you now. Marco Chen, Dante's second in command, barely glanced up from his phone. The waiting area of Salvatore Industries' penthouse floor was all black marble and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. Gorgeous, intimidating, exactly like the man who owned it. I smoothed down my navy shirt and reminded myself that I was Adrian Cross. I didn't break. I didn't bend. I just occasionally saw the future, and the future I'd glimpsed 3 days ago involved Dante's mouth on mine and my entire world burning down. So yeah, time to quit before I did something spectacularly stupid. I pushed open the heavy door and immediately wished I hadn't. Dante stood at the window, backlit by afternoon sun, dress shirt sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms that should come with a warning label. Dark hair perfectly styled, my sharp jaw tight with whatever fresh crisis his Mafia empire had thrown at him today. He didn't turn around. "You're late, Adrian." "By 45 seconds, I shot back, because professionalism didn't mean rolling over. Traffic on the Kennedy was brutal. "I don't pay you to make excuses." He turned and those storm gray eyes locked onto mine. "I pay you to be on time." My fingers twitched toward the letter in my pocket. Just hand it over. 2 weeks' notice. Done. But then he moved closer, and my precognition flared without warning. Vision, his hands cupping my face, his breath against my lips. The word mine whispered like a prayer. I blinked hard, slamming back to reality, pulse hammering. Dante's eyes narrowed. "Are you all right?" "Fine," I lied, voice steadier than I felt. "Just need to talk to you about something. No professional matter." One dark eyebrow arched. "Professional?" he repeated like the word amused him. "Interesting, considering you've been avoiding eye contact for 3 weeks. Damn it, of course he noticed. "I haven't been avoiding anything," I said, which was absolutely a lie. I'd been avoiding him like my life depended on it, because it kinda did. "Adrian." He stepped closer, and the space between us felt electric. "You flinch every time I get within 2 feet of you. You've rescheduled our last 4 one-on-ones. Yesterday you took the stairs instead of sharing an elevator with me. So either you're planning to quit, or I've done something to upset you." "Both, actually." But I couldn't say that. I pulled the resignation letter from my pocket and held it out like a shield. "I'm resigning. 2 weeks' notice, with effective today." The silence that followed could have suffocated someone. Dante stared at the envelope, then at me. His expression gave away nothing, which was somehow worse than anger. "No," I blinked. "Excuse me." "I said no." He plucked the letter from my hand, walked to his desk, and dropped it in the trash without opening it. "You're not resigning." Heat flared in my chest. Half anger, half something I refused to name. "That's not how this works. You can't just refuse my resignation." "I absolutely can." He leaned against the desk, arms crossed, every inch the king his people called him. "You signed a contract, Adrian. 6 months remaining. You're mine until then." Mine. The word hit different coming from him, made something in my chest ache. "Contracts can be broken," I said, lifting my chin. "I'll pay the penalty. I'll train whoever you want. I'll even write a detailed transition document. But I'm done." "Why?" The single word cut through everything. I could have lied, should have lied. Instead, something in his expression made me reckless. "Because I can't do this anymore," I said quietly. "Working for you, being around you, pretending I don't." I stopped, catching myself before I said too much. "Pretending you don't what?" His voice had gone soft. Dangerous. Vision, him closing the distance between us, his hand sliding into my hair, his lips brushing my jaw. I gasped, stumbling back a step. Dante moved fast. 1 second he was across the room. The next his hand caught my elbow, steadying me. Adrian, what's wrong? Everything. Nothing. You? His scent wrapped around me. Warm cedar with an edge of something darker. My Omega instincts purred, which was deeply unhelpful. I'm fine, I managed. Just headache. Liar. His thumb brushed the inside of my wrist, right over my racing pulse. Tell me the real reason you're trying to leave. Because every vision I have shows us together, and it terrifies me. Because you're dangerous and powerful and completely wrong for me. Because I'm falling for you, and I can't afford to. Personal reasons, I said instead. Not good enough. He stepped closer, and suddenly my back hit the door. Trapped. Try again. My heart slammed against my ribs. This close, his scent was overwhelming. Cedar and gunpowder and something uniquely him that made my knees weak. Dante, please. Please what? His voice had dropped to barely above a whisper. Please let you run? Please let you walk away without an explanation? His hand came up, palm flat against the door beside my head. Not happening, sweetheart. The endearment did something devastating to my composure. You're my boss, I said desperately. This is completely inappropriate. Then tell me I'm wrong. His eyes searched mine. Tell me I'm imagining the way you look at me when you think I'm not paying attention. Tell me I'm crazy for thinking there's something here. I opened my mouth to lie, but then it happened. The mate bond I'd been suppressing, ignoring, flat out refusing to acknowledge, suddenly flared to life between us. Faint, incomplete, but absolutely, undeniably there. And from the way Dante's pupils dilated, the way his breath caught, I knew he felt it too. Oh God, I whispered. No, this can't. His scent shifted. He darkened, turned possessive and hungry and overwhelming. Adrian. My name sounded like a revelation on his lips. How long have you known? I haven't, I gasped. I swear I didn't know until right now. That was the truth. I'd felt the pull, sure, the attraction, but I'd chalked it up to terrible taste in men, not an actual mate bond. Dante's hand slid from the door to cup my jaw, gentle despite the intensity in his eyes. I've known for 6 months, he said quietly. Since the day you interviewed. I scented it then. Faint, but there. And I've been losing my mind ever since. 6 months. He'd known for 6 months and never said anything. Why didn't you tell me? My voice cracked. Because you would have run. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. Just like you're trying to run now. He wasn't wrong. Wait, this doesn't change anything, I said, even though we both knew it changed everything. You're still my boss, still a Mafia King, still completely wrong for me. Maybe, his lips curved into something too sad to be called a smile. Or maybe we're exactly right, and you're just too scared to find out. Damn him for being right. What do you want from me? I whispered. His answer was immediate. A chance. 1 month. Let me prove this could work. And if it doesn't, then I'll let you go. His voice roughened. But I need you to give us a real shot, Adrian. Not this half-hearted resignation because you're terrified. I should have said no. Should have grabbed my letter from the trash and walked out. Instead, I heard myself say, 1 month, but we keep it professional at work. And if I say stop, you stop. Dante's smile turned devastating. Deal. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that I just made either the best or worst decision of my life. Dante's hand was still cupping my jaw, warm, steady, like he had all the time in the world to stand here and watch me spiral. You're panicking, he observed, which was extremely unhelpful. I'm not panicking, I lied. My heart was trying to break through my ribcage, and the mate bond hummed between us like a live wire. I'm just processing. Process faster. His thumb traced my lower lip, and heat shot straight through me. We only have a month, and I plan to use every second. God, the arrogance. The absolute confidence that this would work. I should have been annoyed. Instead, my traitorous body leaned into his touch. Rules, I blurted out, because structure was the only thing keeping me from completely losing it. We need rules. Interest sparked in those storm gray eyes. I'm listening. First rule, at work, nothing changes. I'm still your assistant. You're still my boss. Professional boundaries stay intact. Agreed. His voice was low, amused. Though I reserve the right to look at you however I want. That's called harassment. That's called appreciating what's mine. There was that word again. Mine. It did something dangerous to my pulse. Second rule, I continued, ignoring the way my face heated. We keep this private. No one can know. Not Marco, not your people, not anyone. Dante's expression shifted. Something darker flickered across his face. That one's non-negotiable anyway. If word gets out that I have a potential mate, you become a target. The reminder sent ice down my spine. Right. Mafia King, enemies, danger. Third rule, I said quietly. If I say stop, you stop. No alpha commands. No pushing. I need to know I can walk away. His hand slid from my jaw to the back of my neck, gentle but grounding. Adrian, look at me. I met his eyes. I will never use my alpha voice on you, he said, and the sincerity in his tone made my chest ache. Not to command, not to control. What we do as equals. You have my word. Something in me cracked open at that. The fear I'd been carrying since my ex, the terror of being controlled again, loosened just slightly. Okay, I whispered. Okay. Any other rules? I should have had a dozen more. Should have built walls so high he couldn't possibly scale them. Instead, I heard myself say, just one more. We do this right. Not some rushed, desperate thing. We actually get to know each other. Dante smiled, slow and devastating. Sweetheart, I've spent 6 months learning everything about you. Your coffee order, the way you bite your lip when you're concentrating, how you take the stairs when you're anxious. I know you. You know my work habits, I countered. You don't know me. Then teach me. He leaned in, close enough that I could count his eyelashes. Show me who Adrian Cross is when he's not hiding behind professionalism. My breath caught. The mate bond pulsed, warm and insistent. This is insane, I murmured. Probably. His scent wrapped around me. Cedar and gunpowder mixing with something sweeter now. Want, need. But I've done insane before. This feels different. How? Because with you, I actually care about the outcome. The honesty in his voice undid me. Before I could think better of it, I tilted my head slightly, baring the side of my neck. Submission, trust, the ultimate Omega gesture. Dante went absolutely still. Adrian, his voice had gone rough. Do you know what you're doing? Scent exchange, I said, trying to sound calmer than I felt. If we're doing this, we should do it properly. Let the bond settle. For a long moment, he just stared at me. Then slowly, carefully, he leaned in. The first brush of his nose against my throat sent electricity through every nerve. He inhaled deeply, scenting me. And the sound he made was pure alpha satisfaction. Possessive, hungry, mine. My knees went weak. Vanilla and thunderstorms, he murmured against my skin. Sweet and sharp at the same time. I've been going crazy trying not to get closer. Then it was my turn. I leaned into him, pressing my face to the curve of his neck where his scent was strongest. Cedar, gunpowder, and underneath something warm and protective that made my Omega instincts purr. Home, they whispered. Safe. Ours. I breathed him in, and the mate bond flared brighter. Not complete, not yet, but stronger, more real. Dante's arms came around me, holding me against him, and for one perfect moment, everything else fell away. The fear, the danger, the 1,000 reasons this couldn't work. All that existed was us. This, the rightness of it. Then my precognition slammed into me like a freight train. Vision, darkness, a shadowy figure, the sound of a gun cocking, Dante's voice shouting my name, the sharp crack of a gunshot, the blood spreading across expensive marble. I jerked back with a gasp, stumbling. Dante caught me instantly, hands gentle but firm. Adrian, what's wrong? My heart hammered. The vision clung to me, vivid and terrifying. I couldn't breathe. I saw something. His expression shifted, sharpening. What did you see? I can't. It's not clear. My hands were shaking. Just danger. Something bad. Someone coming. Dante's jaw tightened. He pulled out his phone, typed something fast, then looked back at me. Tell me exactly what you saw. A gun, I whispered. Blood. Your office. I don't know when, but soon. Maybe days. Maybe hours. And you've seen this before? These visions? I nodded, wrapping my arms around myself. Since I was a kid, glimpses of the future, usually disasters. I can't control it. I can't turn it off. Understanding dawned in his eyes. That's why you're never in the wrong place at the wrong time. Why you called in sick the day of the attempted hit last month. You noticed that? I notice everything about you. He pulled me close again, this time purely protective. How accurate are these visions? Very, I admitted. If I see it, it happens. I just don't always know when or how to stop it. Dante's scent shifted, turning harder, more dangerous. Not directed at me, but at whatever threat I'd seen. Then we'll be ready, he said simply. Increase security, change schedules, whatever it takes. You believe me? I couldn't hide the surprise in my voice. Just like that? He cupped my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. Adrian, you just agreed to give us a chance. You bared your throat to me. Why would I doubt you now? Because everyone else had. My ex had called my visions delusions. My parents had dragged me to therapists. Friends had ghosted me when things got too weird. But Dante just believed. Thank you, I whispered. He pressed his forehead to mine, breathing with me. We protect each other now. That's what mates do. The words settled into my chest, warm and terrifying and perfect. And somewhere in the back of my mind, the vision lingered, a warning. Something was coming, something dark. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't facing it alone. The thought should have been comforting. Instead, it made me want to run faster. Dante's thumb brushed my cheek, pulling me back from the spiral. Where'd you go just now? Nowhere good, I admitted. His scent was still wrapped around me, warm and grounding. But reality was creeping back in. We should probably get back to work. You have the Castellano meeting in 20 minutes. Cancel it. You can't cancel on the Castellanos. They'll think it's a power play. Let them think whatever they want. His hand slid to my waist, keeping me close. I'm not letting you out of my sight until I know you're safe. My traitorous heart did a stupid little flip at the protectiveness in his voice. I shoved it down. Dante, I've been having visions my whole life. I know how to handle them. I stepped back, needing distance to think. And hovering isn't going to help. Hovering? He said it like the word amused him. Is that what we're calling it? What would you call it? Caring whether my mate lives through the week. The casual way he said mate made my stomach flip. In a potential mate, I corrected. The bond isn't complete. Yet. His smile was pure predator. Give me time, sweetheart. I'm very persuasive. You're very arrogant, I shot back, but I couldn't quite hide my smile. Has anyone ever told you that? Daily, usually right before they agree to whatever I want. I rolled my eyes, moving toward the door. Well, I'm not everyone, and I have actual work to do, even if you're planning to brood dramatically by your window all afternoon. I don't brood. You absolutely brood. It's like your signature move. I grabbed my tablet from the side table where I'd abandoned it. Dark and mysterious Alpha King, staring pensively at the Chicago skyline. Very cinematic. Dante caught my wrist as I passed, tugging me back. Not hard, just enough to make me stop. Adrian. Something in his tone made me look up. I meant what I said earlier. You're not alone in this anymore. His gray eyes were serious, intense. Whatever comes, we face it together. My throat tightened. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But the last alpha who'd promised to protect me had ended up trying to control every aspect of my life, had used my visions as proof I was unstable and needed his guidance, had nearly broken me before I finally ran. Dante must have seen something in my expression because his grip gentled. "Hey," he said softly, "talk to me. What's going on in that brilliant, terrifying head of yours?" "Nothing," I lied. "Just processing. This is a lot." He studied me for a long moment, then let go. "All right, go be efficient and terrifying to my enemies." "But Adrian?" He waited until I met his eyes. "We're having dinner tonight. My place. Non-negotiable." "That's not how deals work," I protested. "You can't just declare things non-negotiable." "I'm an alpha. It's literally in the job description. And I'm an Omega who doesn't take orders well. It's in mine." His smile turned genuine, warm in a way that made him look younger, less dangerous. "Which is exactly why you're perfect for me. 7 o'clock. I'll send a car." "I can take the L." "Not happening. Not with a threat on the horizon." I wanted to argue, but he had a point. And honestly, the idea of spending an evening with him, away from the office and prying eyes, sent a thrill through me I couldn't quite suppress. "Fine," I said, trying to sound annoyed instead of pleased. "But I'm not dressing up. And if you serve something ridiculous like caviar, I'm ordering pizza." "Noted. Casual. No caviar. Anything else?" "Yeah. Let me leave before you say something else that makes me want to kiss you." The words slipped out before I could stop them. Dante's eyes went dark, pupils dilating. "And here I thought you wanted to take things slow." My face burned. "I do. I am. I didn't mean to say that out loud." "Too late to take it back now." He stepped closer, crowding into my space in a way that should have felt threatening, but just felt electric. "For the record, I've been thinking about kissing you since the moment you walked in here with that resignation letter." "Well, don't," I said, but my voice came out breathless. "We agreed to do this right. That means not jumping straight into, not whatever this is." "This," he murmured, "is called chemistry, and fighting it isn't going to make it go away." "Maybe not, but we're still taking it slow." "Define slow." "Slower than pinning me against doors and talking about kissing me." I poked his chest, gratified when he actually stepped back. "We're supposed to be getting to know each other, remember? I know you're stubborn and sassy, and you have terrible taste in coffee." "My coffee is perfect, thank you. Unlike yours, which is basically motor oil." "See? We're getting to know each other already." His grin was infuriating. "This is going great." I couldn't help it. I laughed. Actual, genuine laughter that surprised us both. Dante's expression softened, something tender crossing his face. "There it is." "There what is?" "The real you, not the professional mask, not the walls." He touched my cheek, gentle. "Just Adrian." My heart did that stupid flipping thing again. This was dangerous. He was dangerous. Not because of the mafia thing, but because he was making me want things I'd sworn off. Things like trust, partnership, home. "I have to go," I said, stepping back before I did something reckless. "The Castellanos are waiting, and Marco's probably wondering if you've murdered me." "He'd better not be. He knows you're off limits." "I'm not on limits either," I pointed out. "I'm just complicated." "Good." Dante walked me to the door, hand at the small of my back. Possessive but not controlling. "I don't do simple, sweetheart. Never have." As I stepped into the hallway, he caught my hand one more time. "Adrian, about tonight. Bring an overnight bag." My eyes widened. Excuse me? Not like that." He had the audacity to look amused. "But Chicago's getting a storm. If the vision you saw connects to weather or timing, I want you somewhere safe. My penthouse has better security than your apartment." He wasn't wrong. My studio in Logan Square had a deadbolt and a neighbor who practiced drums at ungodly hours. Not exactly fortress material. "Fine," I said, "but I'm sleeping in the guest room." Wouldn't dream of suggesting otherwise. His smile said he was absolutely dreaming of suggesting otherwise. "See you at 7, sweetheart." I walked away before I could change my mind, heart racing, mind spinning. 1 month. I'd agreed to 1 month. Something told me it was going to be the longest and shortest month of my life. I made it exactly 5 steps down the hallway before Marco appeared. He, phone in hand, eyebrow raised. So, he said casually, should I be concerned that you were in there for 40 minutes and came out looking like you just survived a natural disaster? I quit, I said automatically. Then, he said no. Marco's other eyebrow joined the first. He said no to your resignation? Apparently he can do that. He really can't. Marco fell into step beside me, escorting me back toward my desk in the outer office. But I'm not surprised he tried. You're the only assistant who's lasted more than 3 months. The last one cried. Dante made someone cry? No, the job made them cry. Dante just scared them into quitting. He studied me with those sharp beta eyes. But you're different. You don't scare easy. If only he knew. I was absolutely terrified, just not of Dante's reputation. And I was scared of the way my heart raced when he touched me, the way his scent made my knees weak, the way 1 month suddenly felt like both forever and not nearly enough time. I'm very brave, I said dryly, sinking into my desk chair. It's my most annoying quality. That and the commentary. Marco's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then at me. Boss wants extra security on you. Starting now? My stomach dropped. He told you about the vision? He told me you have a headache and need monitoring. Marco's expression was carefully neutral. But between you and me, Adrian, I've been doing this job long enough to know when something's actually wrong. So if you see or hear anything weird, you tell me. Immediately. The protectiveness in his voice surprised me. I'd always assumed Marco tolerated me because Dante required it. But there was genuine concern in his eyes. I will, I promised. Thanks, Marco. He nodded and disappeared back into his own office, leaving me alone with my churning thoughts. I pulled up my calendar, trying to focus on actual work. Dante had meetings scheduled back-to-back for the rest of the afternoon. The Castellanos at 3, the accountant at 4, a call with the East Coast contacts at 5:30. Normal, professional, exactly like every other day, except nothing felt normal anymore. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Car will arrive at 6:45. Don't make me send Marco to drag you out. I bit back a smile despite myself. How did you get my personal number? I'm a Mafia King. I have everyone's number. That's creepy. That's efficient. Pack the overnight bag, sweetheart. Stop calling me that. Make me. Now I shoved my phone in my drawer before I could type something stupid back. Focus. Work. Normalcy. My computer screen blurred as another vision hit without warning. Rain lashing against tall windows. Thunder rumbling. Dante's penthouse living room, all dark leather and soft lighting. His hand reaching for mine across a dinner table. The words stay hanging between us like a promise. I blinked hard, slamming back to the present. Great. Now my precognition was showing me romantic moments instead of useful things like lottery numbers or stock tips. The afternoon crawled by. I answered emails, rescheduled appointments, avoided thinking about tonight, failed miserably at that last one. By 6:30, I'd given up pretending to work and was staring at my desk drawer. And where I definitely had not packed an overnight bag because that would mean admitting this was actually happening. My phone buzzed again. Car's downstairs. Marco's walking you down. Don't argue. I looked up to find Marco already standing in my doorway, jacket on, keys in hand. You're enjoying this, I accused. Immensely. He grinned. Come on, boss gets cranky when people are late. The elevator ride down was silent, except for the soft jazz playing through hidden speakers. Marco didn't ask questions, which I appreciated, but he also didn't stop smiling, which was deeply annoying. What? I finally snapped. Nothing. His smile widened. Just nice to see the boss happy for once. He's not happy. He's probably plotting world domination or something. He's been whistling, Adrian. Whistling. Dante Salvatore doesn't whistle. Oh, God. What had I done? The car waiting at the curb was exactly the kind of ridiculous I expected. Black sedan, tinted windows, driver who looked like he could bench press a truck. Mr. Cross. The driver opened the back door. Mr. Salvatore is expecting you. Marco clapped me on the shoulder. Have fun. Try not to overthink it. I'm going to overthink everything, I muttered, sliding into the leather interior. The door closed with an expensive-sounding thunk, sealing me in. The drive through Chicago traffic should have been stressful. Instead, it was oddly calming. Rain had started to fall, exactly like my vision predicted. Drops streaked across the window as we wound through downtown toward the Gold Coast. My phone buzzed with another text from Dante. Traffic bad? It's Chicago. Cooper, traffic is always bad. True, you okay? The question surprised me, made something warm unfurl in my chest. Nervous, good, me too. That admission did devastating things to my resolve. The idea that Dante Salvatore, Alpha King of Chicago's underworld, was nervous about dinner with me felt impossible. And yet, you don't get nervous. I do about things that matter. You matter, Adrian. I stared at those 3 words until my vision blurred. The car pulled up to a building that was all glass and steel and absolutely screaming wealth. The doorman knew the driver by name. The elevator required a key card. Everything about this screamed different world. My world was student loans and studio apartments. His was penthouses and private security. The elevator opened directly into his apartment, because of course it did. And there he was. Dante stood in the middle of an open-concept living room that belonged in an architecture magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the lake, rain streaming down the glass. Soft lighting, dark furniture, understated elegance. He changed out of his suit into dark jeans and a charcoal Henley that should be illegal. Casual, devastating, completely unfair. You came, he said, and the relief in his voice was unmistakable. You sent a car and threatened to send Marco after me. I stepped out of the elevator, acutely aware of my work clothes and lack of overnight bag. Didn't leave me much choice. You always have a choice. He moved closer, stopping just outside my personal space. Not touching, but close enough that his scent wrapped around me. You could have told me no. I'm terrible at saying no to you, I admitted. Huey, it's becoming a problem. His smile was soft, genuine. Good, because I'm terrible at staying away from you. Thunder rumbled outside, punctuating his words. So, I said, trying to ignore how my pulse raced. Dinner? Dinner, he agreed. And talking. Getting to know each other. Like you wanted. No kissing, I added quickly. Not unless you ask. I'm not going to ask. His smile turned knowing. We'll see, sweetheart. We'll see. I opened my mouth to argue, but he was already walking toward the kitchen, leaving me standing in his impossibly beautiful living room like an idiot. The space was exactly what I'd expected, and nothing like it at the same time. Yes, it screamed wealth. But there were small touches that felt personal. A worn leather jacket draped over a chair. Books stacked on the coffee table. One actual paper ones with cracked spines. A framed photo on the side table of a younger Dante with an older man who had the same sharp jaw. That's my father, Dante called from the kitchen, apparently possessing supernatural hearing. Taken about 6 months before he died. I jerked my hand back from the frame like it burned. Sorry, I wasn't snooping. You're allowed to look. He reappeared carrying 2 wine glasses and a bottle. This is your space now too, for tonight at least. The casual way he claimed me as belonging here made my stomach flip. Wine? He offered. Are you trying to get me drunk so I'll agree to things? I'm trying to get you to relax. He poured anyway, handing me a glass. You look like you're about to bolt. I'm considering it, I admitted, taking a sip. The wine was smooth, probably expensive, and went down way too easily. This is weird, right? Having dinner with your boss at his penthouse during a thunderstorm? Very romance novel. Is that a complaint? An observation. I moved to the windows, watching rain streak down the glass. The city lights blurred into watercolor below us. How high up are we? 42nd floor. Of course you are, because living at normal heights is for peasants. His laugh was unexpected, warm, real. I bought it for the view. And the security. Hard to sneak up on someone 42 floors up. Right, because his life involved people trying to sneak up on him with guns. The vision from earlier flickered through my mind. Blood, darkness, gunshots. I shoved it down and turned to find Dante watching me with an intensity that made my breath catch. What? I asked. You do that when you're nervous. Bite the inside of your cheek. Damn it. I stopped immediately. I don't get nervous. Liar. He moved closer, not touching, just close. You've been nervous since you walked in here. Tell me why. Because this feels too real. Because I want it too much. Because the last time I let an alpha this close, I nearly lost myself completely. Old habits, I said instead. My ex wasn't big on the whole partnership thing, more into the control thing. Dante's expression darkened. He hurt you. It wasn't a question. Not physically. I took another sip of wine. Just convinced me I was broken, that my visions made me unstable, that I needed him to keep me grounded. Where is he now? The lethal calm in Dante's voice should have scared me. Instead, it felt protective. Philadelphia, last I checked. And before you go all Mafia King on him, it was 3 years ago. I'm over it. Are you? He studied me like he could see straight through the lie. Because you flinch every time I get close. You assume I'm trying to control you? That's not being over it, Adrian. That's survival. The accuracy of that statement hit harder than expected. Dinner, I said abruptly, needing to change the subject. You promised food. Dante held my gaze for one more heartbeat, then nodded. Dinner, come on. The dining table was already set. Nothing fancy, just simple plates and silverware. And in the center, covered dishes that smelled amazing. You cooked? I asked, genuinely surprised. Don't sound so shocked. I'm Italian. Cooking is mandatory. He pulled out a chair for me, waited until I sat, then took the seat across. My nonna would rise from the grave if I couldn't make a decent pasta. The food was incredible. Homemade carbonara, garlic bread, a simple salad. Nothing pretentious, just good, comforting food. This is really good, I admitted after the third bite. You sound surprised. I figured Mafia Kings had personal chefs. I do. I just don't use them when I want to impress someone. His eyes met mine over the rim of his wine glass. You're not impressed by money, Adrian. I figured out that much. He wasn't wrong. I'd grown up with nothing, worked my way through college on scholarships and spite. Wealth didn't impress me. But this, him cooking for me, that did something dangerous to my defenses. Tell me about your father, I said, partly curious, partly desperate to shift focus away from the way my heart was doing stupid things. Dante's expression shifted. Something painful flickered across his face before he smoothed it away. He built everything I have now, the business, the connections, the respect. He turned his wine glass slowly. Also gave me a target on my back and impossible expectations. So, mixed legacy. When did he die? 5 years ago. Heart attack. Dante's jaw tightened. Quick, no warning. One day he was running Chicago. The next I was 27 and in charge of an empire I wasn't ready for. The vulnerability in his admission made my chest ache. You seem like you're doing okay, I offered. I'm surviving. There's a difference. He looked up and the exhaustion in his eyes was unmistakable. Every day is a battle. Keeping territory, managing alliances, making sure my people are safe. I can't show weakness. He can't let anyone see that I'm... He stopped, like he'd revealed too much. Scared? I finished softly. His smile was bitter. Terrified, constantly. That I'll make the wrong call and get someone killed. That I'll lose what my father built. That I'll end up alone in this goddamn penthouse surrounded by people who fear me, but don't know me. The confession hung between us, raw and honest. I know you, I said quietly. Not all of you. Not yet. But I know you're more than the reputation, more than the violence. How do you know that? Because you cooked me dinner instead of ordering takeout. Because you asked permission before scenting me. Because you've been patient when you could have just commanded. I met his eyes. Because you're scared of losing me, and that means you actually care. Dante stood abruptly, rounding the table. And for a second I thought he was leaving, but instead he knelt beside my chair, eye level with me. I do care, he said, voice rough. Too much, probably. You walked into my office 2 years ago, and I knew. Mate bond or not, I knew you were going to change everything. My breath caught. His hand came up, cupping my jaw, thumb brushing my cheekbone. Adrian, he whispered, can I kiss you? Yes. God, yes. Every cell in my body screamed, yes. I leaned in, closing the distance, and his lips were a breath from mine when the vision slammed into me. Gunshot, so loud it echoed. Dante's office, dark, a figure in the shadows. Dante falling, blood spreading across his white shirt, my voice screaming his name. I jerked back with a gasp, nearly falling off the chair. Dante caught me instantly. Adrian, what's wrong? Vision, I gasped. I'm clearer this time. Your office. Gunshot. You were... I couldn't finish. His arms came around me, solid and grounding. Breathe. Just breathe. You died, I whispered against his chest. In the vision, you died. I'm right here. His hand stroked my hair, soothing. I'm safe. You're safe. But we weren't. That was the problem. Someone was coming for him, and I had no idea how to stop it. Dante's arms tightened around me, his scent wrapping me in cedar and safety, even while my mind screamed danger. Talk to me, he murmured against my hair. What exactly did you see? I pressed my face against his chest, trying to calm my racing heart. Your office. Nighttime, I think. Someone in the shadows. A gun. And you... My voice cracked. You went down. There was so much blood. His hand stroked down my spine, soothing. What did you see? Who? No. Just a silhouette. But they knew exactly where to aim. I pulled back enough to look at him. Dante, this wasn't random. Whoever it is, they know your security patterns. Know when you're vulnerable. Something dark flickered across his face. Not fear. Calculation. Inside job, he said quietly. Has to be. The implications of that settled between us, heavy and terrifying. I'm calling Marco, Dante said, reaching for his phone. I caught his wrist. Wait, just give me a minute, please. He searched my face, then set the phone down. Okay, what do you need? I don't know. I laughed, shaky and borderline hysterical. Maybe to rewind 3 hours and not agree to any of this? To go back to when you were just my impossibly attractive boss and I was just your assistant who had inappropriate thoughts? Sweetheart, those thoughts were never inappropriate. His thumb brushed my jaw. They were just early. Despite everything, I smiled. You're ridiculous. I'm honest. He stood, pulling me up with him. Come on, you need to sit down before you fall down. He guided me to the massive leather couch, and I sank into it gratefully. My hands were still shaking. The vision clung to me like oil, dark and suffocating. Dante disappeared into another room, returning with a soft blanket that he draped around my shoulders. I'm not in shock, I protested weakly. You're shaking. He sat beside me, close but not crowding. And you just saw me die. I think a blanket is the least I can offer. The gentleness in his voice undid something in my chest. I hate this, I whispered. I hate seeing terrible things and not being able to stop them. I hate knowing someone wants to hurt you and feeling powerless. You're not powerless. Dante caught my hand, lacing our fingers together. You just gave me advanced warning. That's everything, Adrian. That's the difference between walking into an ambush and being prepared. I looked down at our joined hands. His were bigger, scarred across the knuckles, capable of violence I'd only glimpsed. But right now they were gentle, grounding. My ex used to say the visions were a curse, I said quietly, that they made me broken, unstable. He wanted me to suppress them, pretend they didn't exist. Dante's grip tightened fractionally. Who, your ex was an idiot. He was an alpha who thought he knew better than me about my own abilities. Then he was a controlling idiot. Dante shifted closer, his free hand cupping my face. Adrian, your gift is incredible. It saved lives. Probably mine, multiple times, even before today, Don't let some insecure alpha make you think otherwise. The conviction in his voice made my throat tight. You really believe that? I whispered. I know it. He pressed his forehead to mine, breathing with me. And I'll spend however long it takes proving it to you. We sat like that, foreheads touching, breathing in sync, while rain hammered against the windows and thunder rolled overhead. Slowly my heartbeat settled. The vision's grip loosened. Better, Dante asked softly. Getting there. I pulled back slightly. Yes, you're surprisingly good at this. At what? The whole comfort thing. I expected more growling and chest beating. His laugh was quiet, warm. I saved that for boardrooms and territory disputes. With you, I just want... He trailed off like he wasn't sure how to finish. What? I prompted. To be enough, he admitted. To be what you need. Not the Alpha King, not the Mafia boss, just me. The vulnerability in those words cracked something open inside me. You are enough, I said, meaning it. You're actually kind of perfect, which is deeply annoying because I was hoping to find fatal flaws. Oh, I have plenty of flaws. His smile turned self-deprecating. I'm possessive, controlling when I'm scared. I solve problems with violence more often than I should. I have a 4-year-old nephew I've been hiding from the world because I'm terrified someone will use him against me. I froze. What? Dante's expression shifted, like he hadn't meant to say that last part. I have a nephew, he repeated slowly. Luca, he's 4. My younger brother Lorenzo's son. Past tense. Was. What happened to Lorenzo? I asked gently. Rival family, 3 months ago. Dante's jaw tightened. They ambushed him outside a restaurant, killed him and his mate. Luca survived because he was at a friend's house. Oh God. Dante, I'm so sorry. I've been raising him in secret. Only Marco knows. I moved him to a safe house outside the city, hired private security, kept him completely off the grid. His voice roughened. Because if my enemies knew about him, they'd use him to get to me. Just like they'll use you if they find out about the bond. The weight of that confession settled over us. That's why you were so adamant about keeping us secret, I said. That's why I've been going insane trying to protect everyone I care about while pretending I don't care about anyone. He met my eyes. I'm tired, Adrian. Tired of hiding. Tired of being alone. Tired of pretending you don't matter when you're the only thing that's mattered in years. My breath caught. I want to meet him, I heard myself say. Luca, I want to meet him. Dante stared at me like I just offered him the world. You do. If he's important to you, he's important to me. I squeezed his hand. Besides, I'm good with kids. I used to volunteer at an after-school program in college. Something shifted in Dante's expression. Softened. Like I just passed some test I didn't know I was taking. He'd love you, Dante said quietly. He asks about you sometimes. Calls you Papa's pretty assistant. Heat flooded my cheeks. He does not. He absolutely does. Marco may have shown him a picture. Marco is fired. Marco is family. Dante's smile was genuine, warm, just like you're becoming. The word family hit different, made something in my chest ache with longing. Before I could overthink it, I leaned in and kissed him. Soft, tentative, a question more than a demand. Dante went absolutely still for half a second. Then his hand slid into my hair, and he kissed me back. Gentle, devastating, perfect. The mate bond flared between us, warm and golden and right. When we finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Dante rested his forehead against mine. I thought you said no kissing, he murmured. I changed my mind. I smiled against his lips. I'm allowed to do that. You're allowed to do anything you want, sweetheart. Thunder rumbled outside, but in here, wrapped in Dante's arms, I felt safe. For the first time in 3 years, I felt like I could breathe. Dante's phone shattered the moment. The ringtone was sharp, urgent, completely different from his normal calls. He pulled back from me, jaw tightening as he grabbed it from the coffee table. What? His voice had gone from soft to lethal in half a second. When? How many? I'll be there in 20 minutes. He ended the call, already standing, and the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. What's wrong? I asked, though the look on his face told me everything I needed to know. Nothing good. Vincent Moretti just arrived at headquarters, unannounced. Dante was already moving toward his bedroom, with 6 of his people. Marco says it's a courtesy visit, but Vincent doesn't do courtesy. My stomach dropped. Vincent Moretti, as in the New York Familia? The same. Dante reappeared pulling on a black button-down, movements sharp and controlled. We have a truce, but it's tenuous at best. Him showing up without warning means he wants something. Or he's the threat from my vision. The thought hit me like ice water. I'm coming with you, I said, standing. Absolutely not. Dante's voice went alpha hard. You stay here where it's safe. Safe from what? The vision I had was in your office, Dante. You need me there. I need you alive. He crossed to me, gripping my shoulders. Vincent is dangerous, unpredictable. I can't protect you and handle him at the same time. Then don't protect me. I met his eyes. Let me protect you. My visions give me an edge. If something's about to happen, I'll see it before you do. His jaw worked, clearly torn between alpha instinct and logic. Please, I added. I can't sit here wondering if you're okay. I'll lose my mind. Dante stared at me for 3 long heartbeats. Then he swore under his breath. Fine, but you stay close to Marco, and if things go bad, you run. Understood? Understood, I lied. If things went bad, I wasn't running anywhere. The drive to Salvatore Industries was tense and silent. Rain still hammered the city, turning streets into rivers of light. Dante's driver navigated with practiced ease while Dante made rapid-fire calls, his voice clipped and commanding. I watched the city blur past, trying to ignore the knot of dread in my stomach. What does Vincent want? I finally asked. Power, territory, respect. Dante didn't look up from his phone. He's been trying to expand into Chicago for 2 years. My father blocked him. I've blocked him. This visit is either a new play or a declaration of war. Comforting. I don't do comfort, sweetheart. I do honesty. The car pulled up to the building. Even at night, even in a storm, Salvatore Industries looked imposing. All glass and steel and money. Marco met us in the lobby, face grim. They're in conference room 3. Vincent's being polite, which is worse than if he were threatening. Agreed. Dante's hand found the small of my back. Possessive. Adrian stays with you. Anything happens, get him out. Marco's eyes flicked between us, was clearly noting the familiarity, but he just nodded. Understood. We took the elevator up in silence. The tension was thick enough to choke on. When the doors opened, I could smell them immediately. Unfamiliar alphas. Too many. The scent made my Omega instinct scream danger. Dante felt me tense. His hand pressed reassuringly against my back. Breathe, he murmured. I've got you. Conference room 3 was all dark wood and intimidation. And sitting at the head of the table, like he owned it, was Vincent Moretti. He was younger than I expected. Maybe 35, with sharp features and cold blue eyes. Handsome in a dangerous way. His suit probably cost more than my rent. 6 alphas flanked him, all radiating lethal calm. Dante! Vincent stood, smile not reaching his eyes. Thank you for seeing me on such short notice. You didn't give me much choice. Dante's voice was ice. What do you want, Vincent? Straight to business. I appreciate that. Vincent's eyes slid past Dante to me, and I felt his attention like a physical touch. Though you didn't mention you'd be bringing company. Every alpha in the room turned to look at me. I lifted my chin, refusing to show fear. My assistant, Dante said flatly. Adrian Cross. He takes notes. It was a dismissal, a way to make me invisible. But Vincent's nostrils flared slightly, scenting the air, and his smile turned sharp. Assistant, he repeated. How efficient. Something in his tone made my skin crawl. Dante moved slightly, positioning himself between us. You have 5 minutes, Vincent. Use them wisely. Of course. Vincent sat back down, completely at ease. I came to discuss the waterfront territories. Your family has controlled them for decades, but times change. I'm proposing a partnership. We've had this conversation. The answer is still no. I'm offering very generous terms. I'm not interested in your terms. Dante's voice could have cut glass. The waterfront stays Salvatore territory. End of discussion. Vincent's smile didn't waver, but something cold flickered in his eyes. He looked at me again, and this time his gaze lingered. Your assistant. He said it like he was tasting the words. Omega, yes? My blood went cold. That's none of your concern, Dante said, voice dropping to a growl. Interesting. Vincent stood, moving closer. Too close. Because I can sense something quite fascinating. An incomplete bond. Which means... His eyes locked on mine. You're unclaimed. The room went deadly silent. Marco shifted, hand moving toward his gun. Dante's scent spiked, turning aggressive, and Vincent smiled like he just won something. Old territory law, he said conversationally. Any unclaimed Omega in neutral territory can be courted by any unmated Alpha. It's tradition. We're not in neutral territory, Dante bit out. This is my building. But he's not your Omega. Vincent's smile sharpened. Is he? I found my voice. I'm no one's Omega. I'm a person with a business degree and opinions. So maybe stop talking about me like I'm property. Vincent's attention snapped to me, and for the first time, he looked genuinely interested. Spirit, I like that. He took another step closer, and Dante moved to intercept. Tell me, Adrian, what does an Omega with a business degree want in an Alpha? Power? Protection? Or perhaps freedom from obligations? The implication was clear. He was offering me a way out, away from Dante. I want you to leave, I said coldly. Before this gets ugly. Does Dante know about your gift? Vincent asked, and my heart stopped. Precognition is quite rare, quite valuable. How did he know? Dante's hands shot out, gripping Vincent's collar. You've been investigating him. I investigate everyone of interest. Vincent didn't even flinch. And an Omega who can see the future? Working for Chicago's Alpha King? That's very interesting indeed. Dante shoved him back, hard. Vincent's alphas moved instantly, guns appearing. Marco's people responded in kind. The room became a powder keg, and I stood in the middle, watching the man I was falling for turn into something violent and terrifying. Get out, Dante snarled. Before I forget, we have a truce. Vincent straightened his collar, smile never fading. I'll leave, but the courtship offer stands, Adrian. Think about it. Freedom, choice, no bonds you didn't ask for. He swept out with his people, leaving destruction in his wake. The silence that followed was suffocating. Dante turned to me, and the possessiveness in his eyes was overwhelming, consuming. We're completing the bond, he said. Tonight, no more waiting. And just like that, the fragile trust we'd built shattered. No, the word came out sharp, final. Dante's head snapped toward me like I'd slapped him. What? I said no. I stepped back, putting space between us. We're not completing anything tonight. Or any night you demanded. His sense spiked, aggressive and possessive. Adrian, be reasonable. Vincent knows about you, about your gift. He'll come after you. So your solution is to claim me like property? Anger flared hot in my chest. To mark me because another alpha looked at me? That's not protection, Dante. That's control. It's keeping you safe. It's taking away my choice. My voice rose to match his. You don't get to decide when we complete the bond. You don't get to panic and override everything we agreed on because you're scared. I'm not scared. I'm being practical. But his eyes betrayed him. Fear bled through the anger. If you're bonded to me, Vincent can't touch you. Old laws protect mated pairs. Old laws also said Omegas were property. Excuse me if I don't put much stock in tradition. I grabbed my jacket from the chair. I'm leaving. Like hell you are. Dante moved to block the door. It's not safe. Neither is staying here with an alpha who thinks he can command me into a permanent bond. I met his eyes, refusing to back down. Move. No. Dante. My voice went dangerously quiet. If you don't let me leave right now voluntarily, then everything Vincent said was right. I'm just another thing you control. That hit him. I watched the words land, watched him flinch like I'd struck him, but he didn't move. I can't let you walk out that door unprotected, he said, voice strained. I can't. If something happened to you because I let you go, then assign me security, send Marco, do whatever you need to do. I softened slightly, seeing the genuine terror in his eyes. But don't cage me, Dante. I've been in that cage before. I barely survived it. His hands clenched at his sides. Every line of his body screamed alpha instinct to protect, to claim, to keep. But slowly, agonizingly, he stepped aside. Marco goes with you, he said roughly. Non-negotiable. Fine. I moved past him toward the door, and his hand caught my wrist. Gentle, desperate. Adrian, please don't go. The plea in his voice almost broke me. Almost. You just tried to take away my choice, I said quietly. The one thing I asked you never to do. I need space to think about whether I can trust you not to do it again. I would never. You just did. I pulled my wrist free. When you're ready to apologize instead of justify, call me. I walked out before I could change my mind, before the mate bond could pull me back, before the part of me that wanted to comfort him could override my self-preservation. Marco was waiting in the hallway, face carefully neutral. I need to go home, I told him. I'll drive you. No questions, no judgment, just steady support. The elevator ride down felt endless. My hands were shaking. The mate bond ached, stretched thin by distance and anger. He cares about you, Marco said quietly. More than I've ever seen him care about anyone. Caring isn't the same as respecting. I leaned against the elevator wall. He sees me as something to protect, not someone who can protect myself. Give him time. He's not used to having something to lose. I'm not a something, Marco. I'm a person. I know. Marco's smile was sad. I just hope he figures that out before he loses you. The rain had stopped, leaving the city wet and glittering. Marco's car was waiting, engine running, driver alert. Your place? Marco asked as we climbed in. Yeah, Logan Square. My apartment felt too quiet, too empty after the warmth of Dante's penthouse. I stood in the middle of my tiny living room, still wearing my jacket, and tried to figure out what the hell I was doing. My phone buzzed. I'm sorry, you were right. I was wrong. Please come back. Then another. I'm not asking you to complete the bond. I'm asking you to be safe. And another. I miss you already. Is that pathetic? I stared at the messages, heart aching, and didn't respond. I needed to think, to figure out if I could actually do this, if loving Dante Salvatore was worth the risk of losing myself. My phone rang, unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Adrian Cross? A smooth, cultured voice. Vincent. I hope I'm not interrupting. Every muscle in my body went rigid. How did you get this number? I have resources. Listen carefully. Dante Salvatore is going to get you killed. His enemies are my enemies, and you're caught in the crossfire. If this is some kind of recruitment pitch, this is a warning. Vincent's voice lost its polish. Men are coming for you tonight, within the hour. I can offer protection, but only if you come willingly. My precognition flared, violent and immediate. Vision. My apartment door exploding inward. 3 masked men, guns, Marco shouting, gunfire, blood spreading across my floor. I gasped, phone clattering from my hand. The vision cleared, and I heard glass breaking in my bedroom. They were already here. Marco, I shouted, but he was already moving, gun drawn, phone to his ear. Lock yourself in the bathroom, he ordered. Now! I ran, heart hammering, and slammed the bathroom door just as my front door burst open. Gunshots, shouting. Marco's voice cold and deadly. I fumbled for my phone with shaking hands and called Dante. He answered on the first ring. Adrian? They're here, I gasped. Men with guns. Marco's fighting them, but there's too many and I... Another vision slammed into me. A man in a white coat, sterile room, papers with my name. The words Prime Omega stamped in red. My parents' voices, They can't know. If anyone finds out what he is, they'll never stop hunting him. The vision shattered, but the truth remained. Prime Omega. I wasn't just an Omega with precognition. I was one of the rarest classifications in existence, worth millions, capable of carrying alpha heirs with absolute certainty, extended lifespan, enhanced abilities. That's why Vincent wanted me. That's why my parents had hidden me my entire life. Adrian! Dante's voice cut through my panic. Talk to me. I'm Prime, I whispered. Dante, I'm a Prime Omega. That's why Vincent wants me. That's why... The bathroom door exploded inward. A massive alpha filled the doorway, gun raised. Then Dante was there, a blur of violence and fury, tackling the man through the doorway. I heard bones break, heard screaming, then silence. Dante appeared in the doorway, blood on his shirt, eyes wild. You're okay, he breathed. Thank God you're okay. Then he swayed, and I saw the blood spreading from his shoulder. Dante! I caught him as he fell, and the world tilted sideways. His weight was solid against me, too heavy, and I went down to my knees with him cradled in my lap. I'm fine, he gritted out, which was an absolute lie. Blood soaked through his shirt, spreading too fast. Just a graze. That's not a graze, you idiot. My hands pressed against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. Marco, I need help. Marco appeared, phone already out. Ambulance is 2 minutes away. Dante's people secured the building. 3 hostiles down, 1 escaped. Vincent's man got away? Dante tried to sit up. I shoved him back down. You're not moving. You're bleeding all over my bathroom floor. It's not that bad. You literally got shot saving me. It's that bad. My voice cracked despite my best efforts. You complete idiot. You beautiful, reckless, impossible. His hand caught mine, bloody and warm. Had to. Couldn't lose you. Yeah, well, I can't lose you either. Tears blurred my vision. So stop being heroic and stay conscious. His smile was weak but genuine. Yes, sir. The ambulance arrived in a blur of sirens and efficient paramedics. They loaded Dante onto a stretcher while I stood there covered in his blood, shaking. I'm riding with him, I told the paramedic. Not a request. Family only. He's my mate. The words came out fierce, certain. I'm going. The paramedic looked at Dante, who nodded weakly, and they let me climb in. The hospital was chaos. Doctors, questions, forms I signed with trembling hands while nurses worked on Dante behind closed doors. Marco appeared with coffee I couldn't drink and a steady presence I desperately needed. Vincent's in custody, he said quietly. FBI had a warrant. Turns out attacking a Prime Omega is a federal crime. He's going away for a very long time. Good. I stared at the surgical ward doors. How did the FBI know? Dante called them 3 days ago. Marco's smile was slight. The second you told him about the vision, he's been setting a trap for Vincent all week. Of course he had. Strategic, protective, impossible man. He's going to be okay, Marco added. Bullet went clean through. He'll heal. I know, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. 4 hours later, they finally let me see him. Dante was awake, propped up in a hospital bed, looking annoyed at his own weakness. When he saw me, his expression softened. Hey, sweetheart. I crossed the room and hit his uninjured shoulder. Hard. Ow! I'm wounded. You got shot because of me. My voice shook. You threw yourself in front of a gun for me. Yes, and I'd do it again. He caught my hand before I could hit him again. Adrian, you're my mate, my choice. I'd take 1,000 bullets before I let one touch you. That's not romantic, that's suicidal. But I was crying now, unable to stop. You scared me. I thought, when I saw all that blood, I'm right here. He pulled me closer until I was perched on the edge of his bed. I'm okay. We're okay. We're really not. I wiped my eyes. You demanded I complete the bond. I walked out. You got shot. Nothing about this is okay. Dante's thumb traced my jaw. You were right. Earlier, I was trying to control you instead of trust you. Honey, I was terrified of losing you and I reacted like an ass. You really did. I'm sorry. The sincerity in his voice was unmistakable. You deserve a mate who respects your choices, who sees you as an equal, not something to protect. I'm asking for another chance to be that mate. My heart cracked open. Dante, no conditions, no demands. His gray eyes held mine. I'm choosing you, Adrian. However you'll have me, bonded or not, I'm yours. The absolute certainty in his voice undid me. I'm prime, I whispered. Did Marco tell you? He did. Doesn't change anything. It changes everything. I'm valuable, rare. People will always come after me. Then I'll always protect you. He cut my face. Not because you're prime, not because of what you can do for me, but because you're you, the man who calls me on my bullshit, who sees past the reputation to who I really am, who made me believe I could be more than my father's legacy. You're going to make me cry again, I said, voice breaking. Good, I like you emotional. Means I'm getting through those walls. I laughed through my tears. I hate you. Liar, he smiled. You love me, admit it. The word stuck. 3 years of self-protection, 3 years of walls. But looking at him now, blood-stained and brave and absolutely certain, I couldn't hide anymore. I love you, I whispered. Completely, terrifyingly, I love you. His smile was brilliant. Say it again. I love you, Dante Salvatore. You impossible, controlling, beautiful man. I love you too. He pulled me closer. More than territory, more than power, more than anything. The mate bond flared between us, and warm and golden and right. Complete it with me, I said softly. Not because of Vincent, not because of danger, just because I choose you. Adrian, are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. I bared my throat, offering, trusting. Make me yours. Let me make you mine. His eyes went dark with want. Here, now. Hospital romances are very trendy, I said, trying to lighten the moment, even as my heart raced. Plus, you're already in bed. Very convenient. He laughed, pulling me fully onto the bed beside him. You're ridiculous. You love it. I really do. His mouth found mine, gentle at first, then deeper. The bond pulsed, growing stronger. When he pulled back, his fangs were descended, and I felt my own respond. Last chance to run, he murmured against my lips. Not going anywhere. I tilted my head. I was baring my throat. I'm exactly where I belong. His bite was sharp, perfect, claiming, and when I bit him in return, marking him as mine, the bond completed in a rush of gold light and overwhelming emotion. Home, safe, ours, forever. 3 days later, Marco drove us to the safe house where Luca was staying. The 4-year-old took one look at me and declared, Papa's pretty boyfriend is here. Dante had the grace to look embarrassed. I laughed until I cried. That's not what I said, Dante protested. It's exactly what you said, Marco countered, grinning. Luca climbed into my lap, completely fearless. Are you staying forever? I looked at Dante, at the love in his eyes, at the family we were building from broken pieces. Yeah, I said, meaning it. I think I am. Dante's hand found mine, the new bond mark on his throat visible above his collar. I tried to quit, I murmured to him later, watching Luca play. You said I couldn't. And you were right, Dante said, pulling me close. You couldn't leave. You were already home.